Hello boys and girls. I don't expect this to be a very exciting video, but I've got to do some work on this Craftsman lawnmower, and I figure there's some of you that might have a Craftsman lawnmower. So I'm going to do a tune-up, and then I'm going to fix an axle because it got bent while it was being driven and run into stuff, and so it got tore up. But we're going to go ahead and start with the tune-up, and then shortly thereafter hopefully I'll have time to do the video on repairing the axle, and then just for a custom job I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to build a push bar so that we can't bend the axle again, because this is the second axle I put in this thing. Evidently it's got more horsepower than it can handle, and so when you put the mustard to it and she hits something, it breaks. So we're going to go ahead and fix that. We're going to make it indestructible hopefully, but we're going to put a nice heavy duty push bar on the front. We're just going to get some steel and weld her on there and make it indestructible. But let's just do the tune-up first, and then we'll get out of the sun, because it is hotter than Michael Jackson in a Pepsi commercial right now. So we'll get this done and get this thing out of the heat. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started on taking this hood off, get it out of the way. A little piece of the plug over here for the wiring for the headlights. I'm just going to kind of pull her on out of here. That should give you all a bird's eye view of what we're working on. I'm going to pull this little cover off of here. Just got a little clippy thingy. It just kind of lifts off. Get the air filter out. Pre-filter. We got all new stuff. So let's get all that out of the way. And then I want to, pull the acorns out that somehow get thrown up in here. Get that baby out of there. I just make believe it's fine. Okay, I'm going to start with the sparking plug. Let's pull that out of there. And let's make sure that we got the right one. Just so you know what's going on. This little doohickey right down here on the carburetor, they tend to go bad on these. And this is like the third Craftsman I've had. They're a great little mower, but I think this little electronic doodah is just not cool. And it goes bad. So the cheap fix is we're going to put a little petcock in here, which kind of looks like this. And we're just going to put that in line right before the filter. We're going to change the filter too. We're going to put that in line, and that's just going to, we'll remember to shut this off. If you forget to shut it off, you'll end up with the same problem. But we're going to shut this off every time we're done using the mower, and that'll keep it from happening. Because what's happening is this needle valve, this electronic needle valve goes bad, and it allows gas to keep filling up the carburetor, and it just dumps into the cylinders, or cylinder. I think there's one or two in here. There's one spark plug, and it will, it'll flood it out, and you won't be able to get her to turn, and then she'll fill up the crankcase, and you'll end up with like 10 gallons of oil in here, which is mostly gas. It won't be hardly any oil at all. So we're going to change on the oil, change the spark plug, put this little valve in there, and change the air filter, and that should, we're going to change on the oil filter too, and that should get us pretty happy, start her up. And then we're going to get her out of this god-awful heat, and get it in the garage where we can work on the axle and make some modifications. I'm going to go ahead and pull this spark plug out. I know you can't see it from that side, but trust me, is it right here, but on this side, where I pull the wire off. Just going to get over here, blink her off of here gently. I don't like the way that feels, but pull that baby out of there. And there we go. Oof. Woo! That's bad. You want to take a look at that? I'm amazed this thing's even running. I can't see a thing. But I don't know if you can see that or not, but that's bad. So anyway, we're going to change her out. It's a real really good idea to put some anti-seize on here. I'm not going to, because chances are my wife's going to kill this lawnmower long before I'll ever need to change the spark plug again. But we're going to go ahead and put the new plug in. We bought original equipment, went online and shopped around, and we got original equipment. Much prettier. Look at that. Shiny. So, but really, honestly, you should put some anti-seize on here, unless you're hard on mowers. In this case, like my wife, she's pretty hard on them. So, odds are, long before this seizes in the cylinder, she'll kill it. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and put this bad boy back in here. Find out in there. Ooh, there we go. You don't have to get out the old biceptus femoris to crank down on these spark plugs. You just gotta kind of snug them. You know, they're not gonna come out if you just, with that little crush washer on them. And I usually just kind of just a little snug. It's just a little past snug. It's hard to explain how. I think there's a torque spec, but yeah, I'm not looking it up. But really, you just kind of tweak it a little. You definitely don't want to put any mustard to it. That's just not a good idea. We're going to go ahead and get that done. Whoops, don't ever forget to put your wire on. Again, here's another hint, which again, I'm not going to do it, because we just want to get this in the garage. But it's not a bad idea to put a little dielectric grease on the inside of this boot too. That'll keep it from sticking to the plug and tearing up your wire, because you can change the whole coil if this wire goes bad. And that's not fun. Okay. And then we got our filter. Ooh, look at that bad boy, right? And you have the pre-filter. And, I could be wrong, but, I don't know. You think we needed to replace this one? Nah. Maybe that. Nah, it's clean, right? It's beautiful. Yeah, no, I don't think so. Here we go. Look at that. Pretty. All right. So, leave the foam side out. Put the little meshy, kind of vinyl-y stuff and the soft stuff up front, this in the back. Oh, I think I lied. Soft stuff out back. Well, because which is really the front. But anyway, this way. Put the mesh out up against here. The fuzzy stuff inside. And I guess probably wouldn't hurt it either way, but then just kind of slide that bad boy in there. Look at that. And then, gotta go fetch this thing. And, cleaned it off a little. Good, that's perfect. Push her in there. Clip her on. Done. And then, of course, no respectful mechanic would be without their Leatherman. And I might have to go fetch the right tool, but for the moment, we're gonna just kind of, well, you know what? I gotta go fetch the right tool anyway, because I'm gonna need a, I don't know. Look at this. Pull this out of here. There we go. Ruh-roh. Let's see. There should be an arrow that says in or out. And I'm not seeing it, but since this one is in this way, we're going to put this one back in the same way. So it's always a good idea to take a note. Look, no gas, because it all went in the crankcase. So, let's always take a note. Which end is which. Put this baby in there. There, that was tough. And then, I think I'm going to go ahead and put my little petcock right around here, because that way we can kind of reach it from under the hood. It doesn't really matter where we put it, but if you have to lift the hood to get to it, you do, But there we go. Having a Leatherman in your pocket can save you a lot of time searching for tools. not the right tool for the job, but if it works, it works. All right, so I think we're just gonna go ahead and lop her off right about here. Open her up. You can tell this is probably not going to be a very long video, but I'm sure there's some of you out there with Craftsman lawnmowers, and you're going to want to know this, because I promise you, if you keep it for any length of time, that bad boy's going to go bad, and you will be doing this. So this is definitely not the way they want you to fix it properly. But, okay, my Leatherman's sticking. What's the deal? Here we go. There's a story behind this Leatherman. I think I've told it before. But I actually changed a license plate on a new car we bought for my wife. And we set that thing, I set this thing on the bumper, back bumper of that car, and drove 80 plus miles home. And, when we got back, it was still sitting on that back bumper. So one, it attests to the ride of a Range Rover, and two, this is my dad's. I inherited it, and it would suck losing it. So it was kind of a blessing that it stayed on that bumper. So there we go. So put that. I'm going to put this facing downward, and that way we can reach it from under the hood, bonnet, whatever you want to call it. And slide these really high-tech clamps on here. But you can tell I spent the big bucks and bought the good ones. Not. I think it was $3 or $2.90 something cents for this petcock. So it works. Look at that. Woohoo! All right, now we're going to change on the oil. We'll start with the filter. Let's see if I can muscle it off. Oh, look at that. Oh, might be a little bit of oil and gas in there. More gas than oil. Woo! Man, definitely more gas than oil. Well, whip out the Leatherman again, because nobody opens it. Which is unusual, because the wife usually opens all my mail. Just out of curiosity, I think. Wants to know what I'm spending my money on. Or her money, or our money, or the money. Now what I usually do, I don't have to go through all that. There we go. And don't worry, I'm picking that mess up. I don't believe in polluting. I take pride in our world that God created for us. So I will pick all this up, don't worry. Let's see. I always take and look and compare. And just make, especially that O-ring. If it all looks good, which it does, then I will come over here and take some good old-fashioned straight 30 weight oil. Just for, so you can see it. Just FYI, if it says that on your filter, don't buy it. It's okay with the oil. It's like a CarQuest brand or something. So the oil's fine. It's just a brand, but they say they've fixed all those problems they had in the past, but once a lemon, always a lemon, so I don't buy them. But and no offense to our Chinese brethren, but I'm trying not to buy too terribly much that's made in China, unless it's from Harbor Freight, which, a man's gotta buy some cheap stuff, especially if it's not something you use a lot. And I'll be honest, some of their tools aren't that bad. So I'm filling this up, and just kind of filling her. Probably not gonna. Here's the petcock for the oil. It's on the opposite side of the engine. And you just pull this little cover off of there, which pretty much gets in the way more than it helps. And I've got a jar. You know, you get these jars, these plastic jars that, you know, you put, come with, you know, that one came with protein powder, bone broth from somebody, but, you know, make shakes with it, whatever, protein shakes. But if you get stuff like that, hang on to them, you know, or Tupperware, whatever. And they make handy little containers. So on this, you're just going to kind of push in and turn. It goes counterclockwise, and it's got a little groovage, and then you just kind of pull out. Woo! There she goes. See what I mean? This thing just kind of gets in the way more than anything. So you can't get it out of the way. So, and I'm completely missing. There you go. See how thin that is? That's because that is mostly gasoline. So this is not good. And now she's starting to trickle a little better, so we'll move this. And she's a filling up. She's a getting full. And more full. And even more full. Holy Moses, she's... I'm going to have to shut her off and get another jar. Alright, pushed it in, shut it off. I'm going to put the old lid on the jar here. I'm going to go fetch another jar. And I think she's done. What this proves is I've got another protein jar. I just spent too much money on protein. But anyway, look at this. We're done. Push in, turn it clockwise to lock her down. Take your little cap. It's a safety precaution. If this thing, you know, vibrates out, that'll slow down the leaking. So anyway, there we go. All the gas is hopefully removed. And now we're going to put the filter in. I'm going to go ahead and put this oil filter on now. Whoop, I almost made a carnal mistake. Stick your finger in there, get a little oil on your finger, and then put it on this gasket. Clean that baby up. Get some of that additional gas out of there. Alright. Spin this bad boy on there. Don't spend too much time, because you'll end up with losing some of that oil you put in there. It was a good idea to have a rag handy, because everything's going to get all El Crapo on you. So just kind of screw that baby on hand tight. There you go. That's it. The final and probably most important step is putting the oil back in. Forget this step, it's not going to go well. And I'll be honest, I almost forgot. It's the problem with doing things, too many things at once. A lot of times you focus on the oil change and just kind of go from there. But wipe off your dipstick, kind of set her in there. Pull her back out and we'll have a little look-see how she's sitting. Oh, she needs a lot more than that. I could have read the manual and figured out how many quarts she takes, but we'll just fill her up and keep sticking the dipstick in there until we figure out how much she needs. Probably like 1 point something or another. And it's looking pretty good. She's a tad low. And just so you all can see, on your dipstick here, you've got some little hash marks. I'm not really sure if you can make that out or not. But it says, you know, add on this side and full on this side. So you want it somewhere in between those two little dots right there. And there's some hash marks in there. I don't know if you see those, but I'm sure you can see the holes. Put some white behind it. There you go. And just in between those holes is where you want to put it. You'll want to go in, put this in several times. Check both sides of the dipstick, because sometimes oil plays tricks. And she's really right at that bottom add line. So I'm going to add just a smidge more, because she does use a little oil. So I'm going to put a little bit more. I'd rather be on the high side than the low. But you don't want to go too high, because then you'll start picking up oil and slinging it with the piston rings, and that's not good either. So we're going to add a smidge more. Alright. I'm going to say that's about 0.2. Stick her in here. Pull it on out. Oh, she's perfect. Right there in between the dots. Right between the eyes. What do I say? Right between the eyes. So, I'm going to get ready to fire this bad boy up. Give her a squirtage. Climb aboard. Choker. We ready? I'm ready. Come on, baby. Maybe we need to give her a little bit more of the spray. That's just about enough. Come on. Come on. That's not good. Come on. Well, she was working. You know, probably a dead battery. Stay tuned for the Let's Get This Running episode. For whatever reason, she's not wanting to play nice. Of all the silly, slimy, sap-sucking Siberian sheep, somehow, some way, the starter wire that goes to solenoid has loosened up. And, don't know how. Gremlins. I'm thinking gremlins. I've got one in the yard. I'm taking my 11 millimeter, probably 7/16, 7mm work, and I'm going to tighten her up. See if that makes the difference. Got this lovely little boot on there that didn't want to come off. We're going to put it back on, just because I like aggravation. Doesn't need to go on there, but we're going to put it anyway, because it helps it to loosen up for you. And, let's see if we can fire it up. Come on, baby, you can do it. Dipped in horse pucky. We're gonna spray her again because she kind of evaporated over time. And I don't get a whole lot of gas in there. Blast her again. I'm sure it'll run. I think it should. I hope. Let's find out.